Hello, my fellow patriots. This is Alex with Disabled Vets Perspective, and this is Belinda.
Hi,
Hello,
everybody.
everybody. Just a quick note off the top of the show. I've been apparently dealing with a bug. I'm a little ill, kind of going to fight my way through this thing. If all of a sudden the screen goes blank and Belinda's there by herself, don't ask any questions and I won't have to explain nothing. And other than that, how are you, Miss Belinda?
Hmm. I'm good. It's been an interesting week of things we received in the mail from the VA and stuff like that.
Well, good. I think we're going to have an interesting show. We got some decent articles. I've got one not so decent article, something that came up with Camilla Harris that I'm going to bring to everybody's attention. But how do we want to do this? You want to start out today, or you want me to go ahead and hit the intergovernmental affairs, or how you want to do it?
Well, I don't care. Whatever is easiest for you.
Well, it's all easy for me.
Well,
You
I
make it
can
look like a
start with what I
breeze.
got in the mail. Yeah, you are the breeze.
All right, this is the mailbag, ladies and gentlemen. This is the VA mailbag. All right, go for it.
I used to do that.
Ancient
Uh,
drummer, how you doing?
we each got a letter in the mail this week from the Department of Veterans Affairs talking about their updated privacy policy. Uh, I hope
Okay.
everybody got a
I
copy of
did
theirs.
I did get that. Yes, I got that too. As a matter of fact, mine's sitting over there. Um
Well,
Joseph, hand me that on top right there. That way we can read along. The mystery hand hands things from off screen. All right, go ahead, please. Don't let me stop you.
page 5 of 8 talks about the things that the VA, without your permission, can tell to various groups, organizations. I mean, it's long. The part that interested me was the law enforcement portion of it.
Right.
And it
Yep.
says that the VA may disclose your health information without your authorization to law enforcement agencies for law enforcement purposes when applicable legal requirements are met. This includes, but not limited to, it doesn't say that, but that's what it means. This
That also it's
includes,
the underlined down.
yeah, identifying or apprehending an individual who has committed or participated in a violent crime, reporting a death where there is suspicion of a crime, fugitive felons, routine reporting to law enforcement agencies such as gunshot wounds, but not limited. I mean, there's more to that, such as makes me think that that's broader after that, but they don't say what it is. Providing certain information to identify or locate suspect, fugitive, material witnesses, or missing persons, and investigating a specific criminal act. And we all know in Florida, Nikki Freed, is really out against guns, and
Right.
she doesn't like veterans. So this would be one of those ways that, God forbid, you've ever taken an antidepressant any time in your life. Even though it's a chemical imbalance in the brain, it doesn't mean that you're some crazy person. I think she
Right.
would use that. There's another interesting part that talks about national security matters. And it says, we may use
Right.
and disclose your health information without your authorization to federal officials conducting national security and intelligence activities.
Wow, that's vague.
That's vague. These activities may include protective services for the president and others. I,
Wow, that's even more vague.
right? Right? I mean, it goes on about, like, if you go into a correctional facility and things like that. But on the beginning, the letter that comes before, with the pamphlet, it says that you can opt out of certain releases of your information. So if y'all want to do that or want to know more, you need to go to www.va.gov /V as in Victor, Lima, Echo, Rico.
Romeo.
We did Rico. VLER.
Really? In what, the Navy?
In my Navy, where I was.
Wow, no wonder you guys can't communicate cross services. But that's not my business. Oh, sorry.
It might have also been what I was doing. So.
Oh, right. The RICO Act.
Yeah. Well, there. Deplorable Bobby says, I opt out now. Yeah, I opted out. We both did.
Right.
As soon as we got this, bloop, 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 went online. And I always opt out of anything with the VA that I can. And then ask me. I want to be asked. I don't want it to be assumed that I say, yes, go tell Nikki Fried anything she wants to know. Yes, please take my guns. Yes, please get into my military medical record for whatever you want.
As far as I know, that other medical facilities can't assume that your answer is yes before they get your written request or written permission. But in the VA, they can do this, and that's one of the things that bothers me. We're not still enlisted. We're bound by the oath, but not by contract. So for us to have a different standard for our health care just because we use the VA seems grossly unfair to me. But what can you do?
And if you find something wrong in your medical jacket, you can request an amendment to your medical record, but more than likely it's going to be denied.
Right. Well, real quick, I wanted to wave a hand at the ones that have joined us this real quick. Peaky Patriot, Deplorable Bobby, Ancient Drummer, Rebel Jack's here. Good to see you. Just saw him over there dealing with some venison burgers. That was good looking stuff. Sandra Ann McGivens here. Good to see you guys. Fred's in the house. Now I already see you. You're not going to get away with it. Besides, I'm going to use the I'm ill technique to keep me safe from being kicked and punched for a few days because I'm still fighting some bug that got a hold of me. And you know what? I believe I know what it was because Tony Patriot was kind of ill for a few days. And I think what happened was I was so involved with his information, I think I might have leaned in too close to the computer and been exposed to the whatever it was he had. So I'm going to blame Tony Patriot for me being sick, and I'm sticking to that. So love you, Tony. None but respect for you, but you got to lean back from the computer when you're sick.
You got a computer virus.
History Bees here, California Critic. Yeah, it was a computer virus. Yes, absolutely. He was sick and he was too close to his computer, so he got me sick. So, yeah. But anyway, so where are we at now? We are.
You want to read some of your headlines?
Already dealing with dropouts, but imagine everybody can still hear because every time I watch the replay, they can still hear what I'm saying, even when I'm blacked out, unless I black out completely.
You're not blacked out.
No, we're not blacked out. We're back. So let me go ahead and open up the Intergovernmental Affairs. 2 articles to speak of. There are actually 4 new articles. I'll just give the headings. VA launches groundbreaking training program to fully leverage new electronic health record solutions. Blah, blah, blah. So obviously it's still a computer hit and miss with them. VA receives highest accolades for the service from J.D. Power. U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs VA Consolidated Mail Outpatient Pharmacy initiative recently received the highest overall customer service satisfaction score in the nation for its mail order pharmaceuticals.
Huh.
Yep, they did.
Huh. That's interesting.
I'm waiting for the punchline, but
yeah,
yeah, considering the fact that every time do what now? Well,
I didn't say anything.
Welcome to the glitchiest show on television, folks. If we don't have glitches, we're not doing it right. Now, what'd you say?
I use the mail order option a lot, but they say within 10 days. Mine's usually 20 days or so, but it does come. It just does not come in
Yeah,
in their time that they say it takes to get here. It doesn't do that.
right. I bleed American and Harley and God, guns, and rednecks. That's a mouthful. That's a good one though. They joined us real quick. Um, yeah, the only thing I have to say about the mail order program is I've made a conscious decision to pretty much stop taking my medication because I feel like every time I need it, I'm playing Russian roulette. I call in my medication that I've been on now for over 2 or 3 years, and I get the same recording. This medication is expired. Your doctor will be notified and make the decision on if you will continue this medication and call back within 10 days to find the answer to that question. So it's you have to decide if they're going to give you your medicine or not, and you risk the chance of them not giving it to you, or all of a sudden, you know, unavailability. There's so many things that I worry about, and it's easier for me to get off of it, and that way I'm not potentially crashing. Uh, some medications, when you just stop them all of a sudden, you can actually get a reaction to it, and that when you take yourself off of something in a slow period of time, it's easier for your body to adjust. So I've just I've stopped taking my medication. I just can't see myself constantly doing that and facing that risk of not getting it next month.
Yeah, I think somebody asked if
Linda,
they.
are you here? You keep freezing.
I'm here. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's a little choppy, and I can't see you, but I can hear you. So that's all. That's all we need. We just need to hear you. I'm sure that they can see you though. Um, Bernie Mavi, how you doing? Um, yeah, it's just this. It's the glitch system here. But now I can see you.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Yes, and Deplorable Bobby says it's not freezing there, so it's my screen. I lose visual contact and audio contact with my guest, and I have to assume that nobody else does. But every time I watch the playback, it's like, yeah, there she is. So anyhow, so let's do one couple more of these real quick. VA takes action to restore trust at Atlanta VA MCS Eagles Nest Community Living Center. Some of you may remember the horror stories of a man being covered in ants, and turns out that it wasn't just once, it was twice.
Twice.
And apparently, when he was moved into a new room, he died a few hours later. So things are not looking good for the long-term care in the Eagles Nest up there in Atlanta.
It
So
shouldn't look good for them. That's that. I mean, even your
yeah,
nastiest nursing home has quarterly bug maintenance. You
right.
know what I mean? That's nobody was checking on this person, this bedridden person.
Right.
Nobody was checking. Period.
Yeah, and then one of the nurses that was questioned said that they were checking on him every 15 minutes. So I guess when you walk by the room and you glance into the crack open in the door, then maybe that counts.
Yeah.
So
No.
anyway, that one's pretty crass. The last one I have here on the Intergovernmental Affairs is VA releases 2019 National Veteran Suicide Prevention Report. Today, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, this was on the 20th, released its 2019 National Veteran Suicide Prevention Report. It includes findings from its most recent analysis of veteran suicide data from 2005 to 2017. The 2019 National Veteran Suicide Prevention Annual Report highlights suicide as a national problem and urges all Americans to come together to address the larger social issues that contribute to the increased rates of suicide in the U.S.
So they're looking at everybody, not just veterans, but the whole suicide as a whole. Is that what the article is talking
right.
about? Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
it's the same technique that's used for gun violence. They include all military war shootings too. So that's when they come up with their numbers for the amount of gun violence every year in this country. So
Yeah, and the
bet people didn't
mass
know that.
murders are considered anywhere from two people, mass shootings from two people all the way up. It just depends on who's
Right.
writing the article for the definition of mass shooting.
Yep.
It's sad.
It is. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Let me get a. I opened up this article. I'm looking to see if they're going to give numbers or if they're going to dance around it. But it says one key change from this year's report is that it does not group together veterans eligible for VA service with service members and former National Guard and reservist members who were never federally activated. This change was necessary because these groups are unique and do not all qualify for the same benefits and services. Therefore, they require individualized outreach strategies. I don't even know what the hell that just said.
What? I know. So it says people that weren't ever activated or not included as a veteran. What did it say?
Yeah, what was the part in the middle, man?
Say
Moving, yeah, moving forward, VA's report will include a separate section focusing on never federally activated former Guard and reservist members, while the Department of Defense will publish a separate report focusing on
Oh,
service member suicides. They're just trying to bring down their numbers, but
yeah.
that's okay. That's fine. Make it look better on paper, but the reality is to be the focus. The most recent data from 2017 has allowed VA to better understand the address current trends in VA suicide, as well as evaluate ongoing suicide prevention programs. Key VA initiatives described in the report reflect the department's effort to prevent veteran suicide through targeted strategies that reach all veterans. You know what? This is ridiculous the way they write stuff. Um, okay, I got numbers here. From 2005 to 2017, suicides among U.S. adults increased by 43.6%, while suicides among veterans increased by 6.1%. Excuse me. America's non veteran population is increasing, while its veteran population is decreasing over time. The number of veteran suicides exceeds 6,000 each year from 2008 to 2017. In 2017, the suicide rate for veterans was 1.5 times the rate for non veteran adults after adjusting for population differences in age and sex. Firearms were the method of suicide in 70.7%. I don't believe that number. Of the male veteran suicide deaths and 43.2% of the female veteran suicide deaths in 2017. I do not believe those numbers. Those are grossly inflated. In addition to the aforementioned veteran suicide, there were 919 suicides among never federally activated former National Guard and reservist members in 2017, an average of 2.5% suicide deaths per day. All right, so I'm done with that. They're doing this throwing magic numbers at a board and hoping something sticks, and I don't believe in that kind of garbage. But anywho, so what else you got, Belinda?
I
I'm
did
gonna
read
let you throw some good news out there.
good news. Good
No,
news. Hold
okay, no
on.
pressure. Just
Good news. Good news. I'm watching my daughter's dogs. They're really cute. Um,
that's good news.
there's my good news.
Yeah,
The
and my dog's actually doing a little better. He seems to be bouncing back from his little scare last week, so
I'm glad.
that's good news. So
Yeah.
okay, now let's get back to the real news, the
Uh,
bad news.
well, the VA news. And not all VA news is bad, but I do think that if you don't know what's going on, the good things are easy. You don't have to worry
Right.
about good things. It's the things that you
Yeah,
need
you
to
can
be made
find those
aware of.
anywhere.
Yeah, well,
Right.
and with the VA, it's so hard to track down information sometimes because one clinic does something one way, another hospital does something another way, and it can be
Right.
very hard to. There isn't one uh, like one booklet to say this is what happens everywhere because that's just not the case. And
Right.
just like this article here, this is from 2018 though, and it says the VA required thousands of
By
unwarranted
history.
of thousands of unwarranted reexaminations for vets getting disability benefits. And
Say that heading one more time. I'm not clear on what you just
sure,
said.
VA
Okay.
required thousands of unwarranted reexaminations for veterans getting disability benefits.
Oh, that's a little spooky.
Well, like I've said before, sometimes I think our local VA gets all the weird things happening in it, and I have gone for VA exams. I'll just use my hand for an example. For my hand, and they'll do the exam, and then you get called right back. Well, we need to. It's to delay. It's a delay tactic. Well, let us look at your hand one more time. Oh, I see something different
Right.
this time. Maybe we need to do this, that, or the other. And
Right.
it's just another way, like the ghost appointments. We would have never
Right.
known about them if it hadn't been for the pharmacist. When we had to go to the pharmacy saying, "Oh, you had a ghost appointment. What is that?" And they said that we
Yeah.
make appointments that don't exist. The veteran shows up, but there was no appointment for you. It's what looks good on paper, but they're just trying to appease Washington and the budget and their numbers, so the higher ups get their bonuses, which I find
Right.
ridiculous.
Well,
But
that
that just
number on the suicides bothers me.
I've
And it's
read
just
like,
everything is numbers. Yeah.
well, it is, and the way they break it down, because that's, we're
Yeah.
going to include it this way, but then we're going to dissect the numbers and make it look another way. But then we're going to include these group of people on Tuesday, but we're going to subtract from them on Wednesday. It's just all to look like progress is happening. And I think I read that, what you just read before, and it was very convoluted to me. But
Yeah.
with this having these appointments, a re-examination, that costs the VA millions of dollars, that we could have put that money towards pay for doctors.
Right.
They want some people sometimes to do swim therapy, but you have to pay for it. How
Right.
easy would it be for the VA to build a pool? I mean, my God, it's
You would think.
you would think, but you have to go pay for that on your own. That's silly. But we're going to re-examine, thousands of veterans because we just want to delay the inevitable. And another thing with your claims and trying to get stuff done at the VA, if you call for your medical record and you were seen prior to 1996, that's not digitized. So you have to physically request those paper copies. And of course, we learned that the hard way too. Everything we've learned the hard way. Like I said before, there was no book that I could just go look up how to request records, and it breaks it down by years and circumstances.
Right.
And it's very
I was
frustrating.
very fortunate that I started copying my medical records from the very beginning. It wasn't exactly the very beginning because when I first filed my claim and they lost all my military records to try to make it look like I wasn't even in the military, that's when I realized that anything I do from this moment forward, I need to be getting hard paper copies of it and keep them in a file in my own place. So I've been doing that since. So
Yeah, we didn't know
I got
to
a
do
medical
that.
record is huge.
We just
Patty's
didn't
here.
know.
Good to see you. Dangerous Freedom. Dangerous Freedom. If you are interested at all in maybe doing my Thursday night show, put something there in the comment. Let me know. And if so, send me an email with your uh, desires, and I'll get back to you about it. Yeah. So is that all of it on that article, or are you still going?
No, that's all.
Okay. Well, I have one here on military.com, and this one is disturbing. It says, I want to open this, but it says Habitat for Humanity is helping combat veterans' homelessness by committing. Let's see, it just changed on me. Habitat for Humanity is helping combat veteran homelessness, but community concerns often get in the way. Uh, Temple, Texas. Bobby Kaiser didn't realize he'd spend much of his adult life living within the government's definition of homeless until this year when he decided to purchase his first house. I wasn't sleeping under a bridge for 64. The 64-year-old said, though he didn't have a permanent address, which meant he was homeless, according to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Um, that's not relevant. The relevant part is um, the article has changed when I've opened it. So let me get back to it. And can you tell it's live? There's no editing here. Advocates have experienced challenges from residents citing concerns often referred to as not in my backyard mindset when Habitat for Humanity has started working on projects to house the homeless veterans. So what I'm getting from that is that the people in the neighborhoods don't want them filthy veterans living there in their backyards, even though their backyard would not be part of the real estate that they would use for the new home. So it's just one of those things make you think.
It's just sad the way people respond to homeless veterans. They weren't homeless when they were in. Some of these people are retired after 25, 26, 30 years, and they become homeless. My friend's
Right.
husband was a retired command master chief. And when he got out, he took a walk on the crazy side and has never recovered. A lot of people can't live without that regiment of this is what I'm doing today. I wear these clothes. This is what I do. This is who I report to. This is who I'm in charge of. A lot of people can't
Right.
do that. Oh, it's morning. What do I eat? What do I wear? That's a lot of stress for some people. And to not realize that a veteran was once someone that defended you, to not want them in your community, especially going through Habitat for Humanity, who doesn't throw housing up just anywhere. You know what I mean? It's well researched out. It should, veterans should never be homeless. They weren't homeless. They performed a job. They lived a life that most people can never understand. And I just don't get the discrimination against them. I don't get it.
Yeah. DA Archer says, DVP, have you or anyone talked to the 3%ers out of Texas? Think it would really boost your guys' numbers? And just a thought. Here's the deal. The channel is growing. We are very recommended to anybody. There's the algorithms that we deal with. The name of my channel in itself is just about a three-strike rule, and it immediately gets flagged by algorithms every time I put up a video. I watch in real time as my like button numbers decrease and also my view count. So at this point, there's really nothing I can do that's going to change the growth of my channel. It's being suppressed at the highest levels. All I can do is keep doing what I do, and you know, you guys recommending the channel to other people will help. Ultimately, I'd like to reach a much larger audience, not for the ego, but for the fact that we have information that's needed to know by veterans. So we are restricted by the powers that be that control our channel from internally within the YouTube. So telling other people about us, that makes a difference. But anyway, so what else you got, Belinda?
Let's see. They also did a poll on active duty and veterans, broken down by voting party, of how many approve of their commander in chief. And it's pretty obvious the way the numbers fell. The Republican or non-committed even, so I guess that includes libertarians and maybe Pastafarians
Independent.
and all that other stuff, were supportive of Trump. Of course, I don't think there's one person that could ever say they fully support another human 100%, because after all, they are human.
Right.
And I mean, I support President Trump, but I do not agree with everything he's done. But then, of course, the Democrats all, the worst president ever, and I feel that if you're in uniform, I mean, we were told we cannot say anything about the commander in chief. That was not a
No, that
subject
was
of conversation.
right.
Politics was not discussed in any command I was in. Politics was not
Yeah, I mean that's an
discussed.
old school rules. I mean
And
it was damn near the law.
now a lot of these service members are talking out against their president. And if you're going to talk out about him here at home, you're going to do it overseas. And again, I know I say it all the time, but it applies through everyone's entire life. Loose lips sink ships. And if I talk bad
Right.
about someone, that's the first impression someone else has. Oh, Belinda said Mary was, a despicable human being. So then when they meet Mary, that's the first thing they have in their mind. And
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it should be allowed. I mean, if they're taking a written poll, or if this is a blind study, but it didn't say that this was a blind, click what party you're affiliated with and click a yes or no. The study didn't say that. And if the
Yeah, like
military,
Sergeant Smith, assigned to the 301st Transportation Company, said,
yeah,
"Yeah,
and I don't know how the study was done because it didn't say. And you have the military, they're going to disrespect him, and then that's all trickled down. This man has no
right,
respect across the board. No,
right,
no one. I'm not going to go to the White House because he's the president. I'm not going to, I'm going to move to Canada, which these people never did, and I wish they'd hurry up and get the hell out. But
right."
we can't have
You
disrespect
realize
like
that
that
if
in the
you,
military.
yeah, but if you were enlisted as a military and the president says you will be coming to the White House, the last words out of your mouth should be, "Yes, sir, ma'am." I mean,
Exactly.
there's no option. He is your commander in chief. He is your senior general. And if he tells you to do something, if you want to talk back, your talk back comments are yes, sir.
Yeah,
And then you carry
right.
on.
And that's why I have
I mean,
such
that's
heartburn with that union, because that union does not care about the veterans. Nowhere, and I have been
right.
on their website hundreds of times. Nowhere does it talk about patient care. It talks about
No.
keeping substandard employees. So when I tried to back up even more of that, I went on Glassdoor and I put in Veterans Affairs, and then I put in physicians, and I found what I was looking for. And everyone says, it would be a great job, except it's unorganized, unskilled help, contentious work environment. And that comes from the people that the unions are trying to protect. Oh, we'll use Mary again. Let me keep Mary here, even though she's bitter, she's decisive, she's has political opinions that she uses at work, and she plays the system. Let's keep her, and that'll make the good guy. That'll make Bob want to leave this job because Mary's made it so hard for him. But we're going to keep the nasty employee because she might sue. And it's
Yeah. Well, what if that same person worked in pharmacy and decided, you know what? I don't like this guy because he seems like too much of a Trump supporter, and slips a few pills in that prescription of something that wasn't supposed to be there. I mean, that's the kind of dangers it is when people get that bitter and potentially that dangerous. They can do things to harm the veterans, especially
I
if they're
would never
attempting to
hope
protect
that
their
would
job.
happen. I would hope that there's a different caliber of people at my local clinic that are behind the pharmacy, bulletproof glass, than there are every place else. They're a different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know
I
if
mean, that's
it might
just
be
an
privately
example.
run. I don't know, but that's just something that's Why?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes you go,
I mean,
hmm.
conspiracy thoughts abound when it comes to the VA. I mean, I have my own very lengthy list of things that have happened to me that make me think that other things are going on. And
Yeah.
I'll be quiet.
Billy Neal came in here. He sent me a bag of tobacco from North Carolina. I haven't received it yet. I'm waiting for it desperately. Um, if I get it, I'm going to do a box opening. My first video of a open box, and I'll go ahead and make up a couple of those smokes, and we'll try them out, and it'll be fun. So looking forward to that. Um, so since you sort of touched on the subject of our least favorite union, would you like to open that can of whoop ass and start that article about said union?
Well, there are different ads, and I don't know if they're running on your local TV stations because I cut the
I don't even
cord. So
watch TV.
I don't have, I don't watch a lot of local TV. I watch Hulu, Netflix, YouTube, stuff like that. And there's
Ew,
one,
Netflix.
I know,
You
right?
should be ashamed of yourself.
I know. And
I
it's
can't even
very,
subscribe to them.
have you seen The Family? Oh, well, you haven't. With Doug Coe,
No, I
the guy
no,
behind the National Prayer Breakfast?
I have
Very
not. I've
interesting.
saved myself from that stuff. There's just too much of a narrative going on that channel. But anyway, so yeah. So anyway, you were saying your commercials.
So there are some commercials that are running about the VA, and uh, but it's not through the Veterans Administration. It's through va.org, which is its own little group of merry men, and they are supported by different service organizations and private people. The biggest thing on
Right.
their website right now, though, before I get going, is cannabis oil and a way to buy it. So, as we all know
Oh,
from
let
last
me.
week, go ahead.
You just hit that. I just wanted to say, uh, Douglas Ducote did a video today about what's going on in his local area with the medical marijuana and veterans that are being raked across the coals, basically being forced to revisit doctors and pay a bunch of money and still not getting their product. If you guys have a minute, take some time, go watch that video because it's an eye opener on what's going on with CBD and cannabis and weed in general. So do that. But anyway, you said that and you reminded me, so I wanted to make sure to mention it. But
That's okay.
please go ahead.
So on this website, they're pushing cannabis oil, and they have a bunch of different polls. So this could be where some of this polling information comes. Uh, should the U.S. continue surveillance of its allies? Yes or no? Should the government subsidize farmers? Yes or no? Um, where there was one that was, I mean, there's just hundreds of them. Uh, should National PT Awareness Day, should the VA be involved? What?
Um,
So,
Maybe some
and
of them. I know
well,
that if
I,
they asked me to do any PT, it'd be like, I'm going to have to take the firing squad. Thanks.
yeah, and I clicked on one of these and it was about, let me see if it's on the next page, about illegal aliens or something along those lines. And it doesn't give you the result, So when you read
Hmm.
these polls, some of them you read, they sound very down the middle. They're not proposing one way, they're not pushing your thoughts one way or another. But some of them you read are very leaning, and they lean
Right.
heavily to the left. Uh,
It's all part of the propaganda campaign.
yeah, mandatory military service for every 18-year-old citizen. Yes or no?
No.
A woman
Flat no.
uh, or is the Whistleblower Protection Act protecting whistleblowers? I don't think it is at all. But
No, at this point, it is most definitely not.
And the Trump administration family separation policy at the border. Well, we all know that that policy started way before uh, our president started talking about running for president. So,
Right.
it's just one of those sites, but this site is putting out commercials about the VA, and it's how
Yeah, and
to,
who's paying for it?
well, it looks by the how I've been trying to follow name after name and link and contact after contact. It looks like the Federal Employees Union is funding these ads, so you don't want to have your veteran choice and go out in town. You want to stay there at the VA. And I
Right.
think
Well, here's
using
an
VA dot.
interesting. Well, you were just about to say it, va.org. The interesting thing about va.org versus va.gov, uh, I'll say specifically, if you are looking up information about Veterans Affairs, you need to be using va.gov because if you're looking up articles specific, something specific about the VA, if you look it up under va.org, then you try to look the same article up under va.gov, they are totally different. So you must use gov.gov looking up VA information.
And there's another one,
I just wanted to throw that in.
Friends of Va.org. Uh, a lot of the stuff that they say sounds legitimate and things that you would expect a veterans organization to do or say. And then other ones, I mean, it's so far out there that I can't. I mean, it's just a site that people should go and see. It's friendsofva.org. And I would, like Alex said, unless you're dealing with va.gov, I would be very suspicious unless you know the group, like it's your DAV group and it's y'all's website and
Right.
it's
If
people that you know what you're
right,
dealing with. But there's so many of these shadow websites now. I would be cautious
right.
of taking advice. I
They
would
sure
never
look official.
donate. Yeah, they do. They look very official, and I would never donate.
Right.
That's something that a lot of these websites. I looked it up on the uh, I can't remember the website now, but there's a lot of these shadow websites that ask for donations, and then your donations are going to Mary again, so she can buy purses and clothes and houses. So I would just be careful with that.
Yeah. Well, with that, I wanted to bring up an article about Kamala Harris. And this is the article's headline. And mind you, I got this is called the Daily World Update. It's made out to look like a tabloid paper, but they do that for self preservation because apparently the articles that they do put out are verified, but is in order to keep themselves from being eliminated by the powers that be, they basically declare themselves as a conspiracy theory paper. But I have seen this article in another publication. I'm not giving it 100%, but I'm sure thinking based on what she said in the past that it is very plausible. And with that disclaimer, I'll go for it. It says Camilla, our military are soulless cowards. Their budget must be cut. Kamala Harris is back in the spotlight with more asinine promises just weeks after revealing her desire to round up and all Trump supporters if she were to win the presidency. She has now revealed yet another layer of Democrat stupidity. In a speech before the constituents in California, Harris spoke in derogatory terms about our outstanding military, ending with an appalling promise: we have become a nation of baby killers through our military. Our soldiers have become nothing more than a collection of evil, sadistic monsters whose sole purpose of existence is to maim and slaughter. They enjoy it, she continues. I've seen it in their vacant, soulless eyes. Our soldiers are completely dead inside. They are minions of Satan and are so because we have allowed it. Indeed, leaders like Trump have encouraged it. And these demons reflect on our nation as a whole in the eyes of the world. Foreign nationals see Americans as bloodthirsty zombies, and this is this is largely because of our military, which has no compassion nor empathy, and I'm sick of it all. No longer should we be likened to these cowardly animals in uniform. I am to I am I aim to put a stop to this and to the military's carnage across the globe. When I become president, I will immediately cut the defense budget in half. I'll take away all their shiny new killing toys. I'll cut the number of personnel. I'll make them wish they'd never joined up because the Kamala Harris military will be absolutely miserable. Only then can we begin to process of rebuilding our reputation abroad. And as we all know, reputation is everything in the global world on the global stage. Ladies and gentlemen, that is an example of a Democrat looking to become your president. That is some of the most evil things I've ever heard another human being say about any group or entity. They don't talk that bad about ISIS. So let that sink in just a little bit. A little hard to read that article. I've read it twice now because first time I read it, I was almost uh, my voice was quivering because I was so angry. And the second time it was a little better. And this time I stuttered a little bit because it's that annoying to me. I've heard her say things that are absolutely disgusting, but that takes the cake and shoves it right up the ass. That woman is evil. So I thought that it would be necessary to share something like that with you guys to see what kind of candidates we are looking at for the Democrat opponent. And, just wanted to get it out there. Hi, puppy.
One of Alicia's.
Okay, so what else you got now?
The House of Representatives is poised to vote on a continuing resolution to keep the government funded through November 22nd of 2019. And
When the hell are they going to do a budget?
the likeness of a federal pay raise went from 0% to possibly 2.6%. Veterans are also looking at a 2.6% increase in disability benefits. That would be great.
Except
It's
the
not
cost of
enough.
living is over 3%.
Yeah, it's not enough, but I would rather have something than nothing.
Well, something to nothing, yes, but it
Yeah.
does make it difficult because everything in the world goes up around us, but our cost of living increase does not. So every year you fall further and further behind from the societal norms.
Yeah, and things that they're fighting for federal employees and their families. A short list is uh, employee paid leave for 12 weeks. That's for family leave, So if your wife has a child and you're the federal employee, you get 12 weeks of paid leave. The VA
That's
employee,
3 months.
I know, you know how much I got? I got 6 weeks. Daycare
Yeah,
wouldn't
I was
even
going to
take my
say, and that
daughter because she hadn't had her first shots yet. Yeah, I got 6 weeks. Uh, the
I
VA
see your dog
employee
and raise you another.
the VA Employee Fairness Act uh, reverses elements of the Proving Failed VA Accountability and Whistleblower Act, a bill to preserve collective bargaining, a bill to allow employees to buy back seasonal and temporary work. I don't even know what that means. I didn't look it up. So they also want to get back the paid time that their union representatives have to do union work. Now, I I don't know how much time they got, but I do think that they should be allowed to have, an hour a week or something, not doing their regular job. Even though I don't support the union, you have to be able to do that job while you're in it. And so
Right.
I guess I can, talk out of both sides of my head there. But even though I don't like this union, I don't agree with what they're doing, you know, maybe one of these bad people will get fired one day. So I think they need the time to do
Oh,
their
that wasn't a
job.
joke. I'm sorry.
Now, do I think they need 2 days a week to do it? Absolutely not. If there's that many complaints and that much of a problem, we just need to scrap the VA and start all over. But, an hour
Yeah,
a
well,
week should be fine to handle any union complaints
you
or
would think.
business, you would think. But if they need more than that,
Yeah.
there's a bigger problem than we all know about.
Yeah, they needed a longer coffee break.
Yeah. But at least we're funded through November 22nd of 2019. So,
Yeah. Well, the continuing resolutions have got to stop because
yeah.
that's a cop out that doesn't put any control on spending caps or anything. And it doesn't allow for new programs to be instated because it allows everything to be uh, as as already been existing. It continues those programs, and if you found a program that could actually be reduced in the budget, you can't do that either on a continuing resolution. If they're not spending the budget that they're given, they can continue to get the same amount of money and still not spend it. But a budget would allow for the changes to these programs, like decreasing their funding or increasing their funding. So resolutions are not our friend. The continuing resolutions.
And I have lawmakers want closer tracking of white supremacy and Nazi sympathizers in the military.
Did you meet any when you were active?
And no, all I meant was the Wiccan. We had in one
Yeah, the
command that I was
Wiccans.
in, a lot of female Wiccans, and
I actually
they
ran
were,
into a few of those too, but I never
yeah.
found, for one thing, we were a very diverse group of people in my unit. We all loved each other. I mean, it was a big brother and sisterhood in my unit. So if somebody came into the unit that was new and was that kind of a scum, they would not have a good time because they would get at least evening beatings until their morale improved. We just would not put up with that. There's just no room for it. And I literally had been all over the country and I never met any other military people that were racist or sympathizers of all this other crap. So I'm sure
Well,
maybe one or two of them exist, but I didn't meet any.
I guess it's a lawmakers have labeled a growing concern for the services. So, I guess there needs to be there is a vetting process. We all went through a vetting process, and now I guess it just needs to include, your social media. Are you posting on there, I can't wait to kill this or that, or, just to see
Right.
which way you're leaning. I mean, if it's that big of a problem, then we just need to include, and I hate it, but we we can't have
I
white
don't think
supremacy.
there's,
We can't have Black Panthers. We can't have neo-Nazi activity. We can't have any of that crap in the military. That's not what you're
yeah,
there for.
but I just don't think those numbers are that grand. I really don't. I think it's all propaganda inflated calculations.
Well,
Everything to make everyone else seem horrible. Go ahead.
they also go on to say they're looking at white supremacists, neo-Nazi terrorists, gang, and other extremist affiliations by service members and recruits. So, I mean, like that guy that shot up the Muslim guy in the army that shot up and killed all those people on his base. Somebody should have
Fort
known
Hood in
something.
Texas.
Yeah, somebody should have
Yeah.
known something.
Well, apparently they did know something. That's the problem. They know these people are a threat and they don't act on it. So there's got to be more than that because they absolutely knew about that major and they still let it happen.
Yeah, I just if this is such a big
But
concern, you
anyhow,
know,
so
well, it also goes with, well, I mean, it's just such a big concern because it talks about criminal participation in criminal gangs. You would think
right,
before you join the military, you got at least a standard issue background check. I mean, I know uh, secret, top secret, all that requires a different type of background check, but you should at least have your standard issue. What kind of crap 18-year-old are you into? What kind of crap 22-year-old are you into?
we really did have that though. At least when I went through, there was a psychological evaluation, and it wasn't a long one, but apparently these people have fine tuned it to the point where they could ask you a few key questions, wait for reaction and things like that, and make a fairly quick decision on how you stand. But the
I don't
security
remember anything
clearance
like that. It was all
psychological
a blur to me.
eval.
Well, yeah, and
Oh
just
no, it was vivid.
uh, it's the days of go to jail or go in the army are long gone. And
Right.
if they're worried about jihadist, ISIS, neo-Nazi, white supremacy, these other terrorist groups, then they need to do better background checks, and some money needs to go there to make sure it happens. Because I don't
Right.
want somebody like the guy with the airplane the other day that tried to make it crash.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a
Got
Muslim or something like
sabotaged
that?
it.
Or yeah,
Yeah,
he
and
was.
he's a ISIS sympathizer.
Yeah,
He had
come
all
on
of
now.
this ISIS stuff on his computer. So yeah, it was pretty bad, pretty bad form. What do we got here? We got 3 minutes. You got anything else that you wanted to bring up?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No. Oh, let me see what this is.
All right.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. Well, let me real quick. I'll say what I've got here, and then I can let you finish it out, and then we'll say our good evenings. Um, I wanted you guys to bring to your attention a OBC, Operation Border Command.com, and it's a new website that's put together by Douglas Ducote and American Joe. It's talking about their border tour that they're going to be doing in January. Um, if you haven't gotten subscribed to them, you might want to do that. They have donation pages. They have products they're selling. They are creating a fundraiser to help pay for this trip. They've got some sponsorship, corporate sponsors, which is good. Um, they're looking at right now, if nothing changed, they're looking at a total audience of 5.36 million. There's still time, so we're hoping to expand on that. But if you guys want to get over there and sign up, that would be a good thing. Tell your friends about them. Let them know that this is going to be happening. Dates are going to be limited at this point because of the security risks involved. But it's important that we support them in any way we can. If you can't do it financially, that's fine. I'm not in a position to do it that way, but I can do it by promoting their website. Trying to share it with as many people as I can, and you guys can do the same thing. If you can give a little bit, then it would be great to help them get this done. But all right, so Miss Belinda, I'll let you go ahead and finish up what you got, and then we'll say our good nights.
Well, just with charities, like I was talking about earlier, if you want to donate to a veteran uh, cause, you can go to consumer.ftc.gov to see if it's a legitimate
Okay.
organization and to see, their money breakdown. Does 90% go to administrative and 10% go to veterans, or is it 90% to veterans and 10% to administrative? So it's just a good
Right.
resource if you decide to or do donate to any of the veteran causes that are out there.
Awesome. Well, this time I get to say it. Remember, folks,
Mm-hmm.
it is Suicide Awareness Month, so make sure that you check in on your veterans. Doesn't matter the age; they can have bad days at any age. Um, keep them in your thoughts and prayers, and try to prevent this nastiness. Life is sacred. People need to hang on to it.
I agree.
Liberty Smith says, "Thank you, Alex and Belinda. Your information is so good." Well, we appreciate that. We
Thank
try
you.
to get it out there. Wanted to take a minute, thank my mods. You guys are doing a great job. I hope everything's okay with Donna, DM. She has not been here this evening. I'm just hoping there's nothing going on because she's usually the first one in the door. Fred's been here. He's been helping us out. And to all the visitors came check us out this evening, I appreciate you too. Belinda and I wouldn't wouldn't have the drive without the support from our viewers, and we're grateful for that. But you want to say anything on the way out?
No, just always keep your active duty military and us veterans in your thoughts and prayers, and let's all strive to move the country in the right direction.
Make America great again.
Well, keep
Oh wait,
America
that's already
great.
used.
Yeah, yeah. How about keep
Okay,
America
I
great
think that one's
or
already used too.
fire liberals or California fall
Yeah,
off
that's okay. That's
or
a good one. That's a good one. All right, folks. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and until next time, you know what I always say: stay in the fight.